What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data points. So you do have a couple bond auctions, so that is coming out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So depending on the results of that, you will see the media kind of blow that out of proportion as what they have done in the past. So something to consider. Then, as per usual, you do have the initial jobless claims on Thursday. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting week, but in my opinion, nothing really crazy to write home about. You do have a lot of Fed speakers this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And based on the topics, doesn't really seem anything crazy that is going to, again, disrupt the broader market. So this week is going to be a very much technical driven week. So falling back down onto every stock's individual technicals. So I'll kind of cover that near the tail end of the video. You do also have a lot of companies unveiling their earnings, a lot of big names such as Palantir, Rivian, ARM, and many others, none of which that is going to disrupt the broader market though, in my opinion. You do also have Upstart and Robinhood. So that is Tuesday after hours, Wednesday after hours. Upstart in the past, dependent on their earnings, they have actually affected SoFi directly. Not to the same magnitude, but they have affected SoFi. So those are some kind of points to watch for. Again, that is Tuesday and Wednesday after hours. And even going into this upcoming week, I feel like there might be a small pullback only because of what came out, I believe, over the weekend. I don't know if it's actually been confirmed by Warren Buffett himself or through his company, but I think the rumor is that they did sell out 13% of Apple. So not necessarily the best in my opinion. So I think the market's taken that somewhat as a negative. Futures haven't opened up so far, so can't really see exactly how the market is taking that, because social media isn't always the best indicator of what Wall Street is truly thinking. So all in all, pretty volatile week, but at the same time, it is going to fall back down onto SoFi's technicals and just every other individual stock. Looking right here, the Fear and Greed Index is at 40. So over this last week, it ranged from, I think it was like 32 to 45. So very volatile, but still, regardless, people's appetite for risk isn't fully necessarily there, and that's probably why institutions have been overlooking a lot of stocks such as SoFi. And with that lower volume from institutions making those support levels, that's just added so much more volatility to SoFi, and plus a lot more manipulation. As you can kind of see right here, what happened like in the second part of the day on Friday is a very, very clear indication of manipulation. Because in case you are new to the channel or just new to SoFi, like the strike prices associated to options, market makers do typically try to push it below that, obviously rendering a lot of the call options worthless. So I'll talk on that for a second. So as you can kind of see, these are all the open interest for this last Friday, for this upcoming Friday, so May the 10th. But you do see that there was 36,000 at the 7. These are all the open interest, 45 at the 750, 60 at the 8, and obviously you guys can see the rest. But essentially, this is where market makers and shorts, of course, they're kind of working together or may be the same entity, but when it comes down to market makers, they would rather have SoFi close below the strike prices. That way they don't have to go to the open market to cover those call options, right? So not necessarily the best scenario. And in the past, roughly about 2 months, I would say, SoFi's had about 6 instances of this. So with the lack of institutional buying, it's really prone to manipulation. So it's very discouraging. It does really suck. And even for this upcoming week, you already do start to see a somewhat of a wall being created. So as it stands, 13,000 in open interest at the 7, 15 at the 750, and 12 at the 8. And what has typically happened, at least first day in on the week, you do see this go up probably by at least 30%. So the wall does get somewhat formed. So unless SoFi comes right out the gate, like hitting very, very hard, causing it to get to maybe the 750. This is where the walls do just get formed so much stronger. So that will really be working against SoFi for this upcoming week. And of course, at the same time, you have shorts. So shorts did increase 2.35 million shares on Friday. 20.54% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 203.93 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost per average is 1.01%, and then utilization 88.75. So ever since SoFi's earnings, as you can kind of see right here, they have just doubled the hell down. So hopefully SoFi does put out a good piece of news this upcoming week. I don't believe that there's anything scheduled, no fireside chats, nothing like that. So hopefully SoFi does put out some news, or maybe aka Anthony Noto buys, wink wink. But yeah, I think right now the sentiment is very low. Just the fact that SoFi is getting so manipulated, I think a lot of people are getting very discouraged by that, myself included. So right now SoFi definitely does have its work cut out for it this upcoming week to fight against obviously the wall, just the sentiment out there. So hopefully Upstart's earnings is phenomenal, and then that'll give SoFi a nice boost higher essentially. So we'll just have to wait and see. But when it comes down to the technicals, with it closing at $6.96, it is trading between this S3 and this S2. So $6.84 will be that next strong support. And then I'm just looking at the 4 hour because you have to kind of move between each. So the 4 hour is good support, somewhat. 1 day is very strong support. So the next very strong support, as you can kind of see, is at 660, which it did bounce off of several times when it was selling off due to, again, their earnings. So we do know that's a very strong support. So just take note of $6.84 for this upcoming week, and then $6.60 being kind of the line in the sand. So if obviously SoFi was to break below this, then this is where it could head. Not this week probably, but at least in the foreseeable future, the high fives or low sixes. So hopefully, like I said, SoFi does come out swinging with a lot of good buying straight away, right out the gate, getting it to kind of the mid sevens. Then I feel like that could really help just for the rest of the week, in my own opinion, of course. But looking on the actual chart, you do see it is still lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. A nice bullish deviation did form on Friday, so white line above the red, but it is at 22, so it is considered oversold. So if there is, like I kind of already brought up, a good piece of news, you will see a rush of at least institutions temporarily, causing the stock price to go up, value investors and whatever else. So it is all on SoFi's hands right now as far as putting out news. So hopefully they do something of substance this week. And then you do see number of retail investors buying SoFi. Looks like ever since around the 29th. So I think right now SoFi is just stuck in limbo. The technicals might be pulling it down somewhat this week, unless there's something of substance that does come out, or maybe something due to the 2 data points that's coming out. But right now I think just SoFi is in consolidation mode, so it might be potentially touching this kind of range. So I feel like right now it will be trading by the end of the week between 660 and then that 684, because right now that 684 is support, but as soon as you do break below that, then that turns to resistance. So I think this week might be just more of a consolidation week, but hopefully I'm wrong. It does break out to 8, 9, higher than that. That'd be pretty epic stuff. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe, but throw your price predictions in the comments below. Where do you see things going for SoFi, or do you plan on buying a little bit more, or are you planning on selling? What's your viewpoints? So with all that, appreciate all of you watching. Hopefully everyone had an amazing weekend thus far, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And with that, appreciate all of you watching.